Monday, what's good? Braun and Kratz together. Cameron Maven's back, and we're so excited. What's up, Cam?
What's up, fellas? It's a beautiful day to talk baseball. I'll tell you that. At least here in God's country, North Carolina, it's a beautiful day to talk baseball.
Now, you can make a case
My
that
bad,
Kratz.
Cratzy.
No, Kratz also was on a little trip the last few days. That he was in 2014 country.
And 15.
15 was better.
KC's bumping about their team. Obviously, this weekend they had the HDH, Herrera, Davis, and Holland. That's what the whole celebration was kind of around, but then they celebrated the 14 team.
I thought you were talking about
not HGH. No, we're not talking.
We're past those days.
Yeah, we're
Shout
not.
out Greg Holland too. Also resident of Asheville, North Carolina.
North Kakalaki.
I'm just saying, it's a beautiful place. If you guys, matter of fact, I got a guest room. You guys are welcome to come visit whenever you're ready.
Don't invite Scott. He's gonna stay.
I go everywhere.
He's gonna stay.
I go everywhere. I'll be there doing shows in no time.
Yep, he'll be there.
How was it though?
It was awesome. It was awesome. Like, to see all those guys, it was like we had never stopped playing. Mm-hmm. And most of those dudes made a lot of money, so they all look like they still play. Like, they're just, they're like, I golf, I play tennis, and then I go work out, and then I don't really do anything. I'm like, well, you're rich. You're rich.
No pickleballers in that mix?
No
pickleball. Pickleball wave.
Seriously, tennis. Greg Holland plays tennis every morning.
Good for him.
Tennis, really? He's like, yes. He's like, it's so much fun.
I see him at the golf course all the time.
Oh, man. He loves the golfing. Loves the golfing.
Living that country club life at 39?
Shoot, he's probably more like 36.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome to come back and see. It makes me feel like, gosh darn it, if I had one more, I could have just done a whole summer of just reunions. Like each year, I would have just been able to come hang out with the guys. But that's what it was like. I mean, we had the Royals put on the best display, put out spreads. Well, I ate so much food. It was unbelievable.
A lot of barbecue.
No barbecue.
They didn't put out barbecue.
No, and that was the best part. It's cliche.
Yeah.
No burnt ends, bro? I mean, come on.
There was a dude that made us a meal, Lulu's Southern Cooking, in downtown in the Light and Sound and Light District, Light and something district. Anyway, downtown KC, and he was like, we got everything from the time that we would feed you guys back in 14, all the restaurants that we would get catered in. They made all of our favorites, from Graham and Dunn, from the pig wings to the carrot cake to so much good food.
Making me hungry over here, bro.
Yeah.
It was so good. So good.
That's awesome. Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Also, in the meantime, we launched another show. Northside Territory is up for the world to consume. If you're a Cubbies fan, go get after it. Patrick Mooney and Sahadev Sharma from The Athletic have had a show in the past, and they're bringing it back to life under the FT network. So you can hit that QR code on the bottom of the screen, or just go to Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your pods, and type in Northside Territory for a little audio greatness 4 times a week on the Chicago Cubs. Plenty going on in that world, and we're going to talk to both of them a little bit later on in the show. Let's charge the damn mound. Who wants to face Paul Skenes? Anyone? Who wants to face him? You do?
Cam is still naive. He still thinks he can get a hit all the
How
time.
are you going to get him?
Like Cratzy just said, I think I'm still on my Udonis Haslam once a week. Give me the Sunday day games and the guy who's nasty. Hey, that is electric, man. I can hit the heater, but that right there, man, I don't know, Cratzy. I just want to see it, right? I didn't say I'd do anything with it. I just want to see it because that is electric, brother.
I'm a swing.
I'm definitely listen. It's going to be hard and harder. So get it ready, man. Get it ready. But dude, he's electric. But I think what comes through when I watch him, it's his competitiveness. How just much he wants to compete at the highest level, and you can see it. And I know as a catcher, you would love catching this guy because he is not shying away from contact. He's coming right at you. But he also showing you that he has a nice repertoire and he can mix it up as well. So I'm excited about what he's going to bring to Pittsburgh. I think those fans deserve it. I'm glad they got that guy out of the minor leagues. There was nothing else for him to prove. But, they definitely have some pieces coming, some young, fun pieces to watch.
He had a no-hitter through 6. Then you got to.
And it took a Christopher Morel to break it up. I mean, the wild child over there in Chicago, he can hit a heater.
Hey, swingers swing, kid. Swingers swing. You know that. Ain't looking to walk.
No, and there was only one. I mean, he only allowed one dude on the walk, Michael Busch. It was a full count pitch, too, that got him on, which is a good approach. I mean, you could get lucky, and he could miss 4 times in an at-bat. That's a good way to get on early on. I'm sure they'll figure out a game plan against him, but he also immediately figured out something. No one can touch his splinker, so he went from 25% in start 1 to 33% in start 2. Start 1, he wasn't hitting all of his spots. No surprise. That's pretty normal, right? The command wasn't as sharp, probably some nerves. Start number 2, command sharp. So hitters are at least screwed early on. Maybe they'll figure something else out, but he looked like one of the top pitchers in baseball in a start like that. It wasn't just like, oh, there's some hard contact. There was no contact. They were like fighting to stay alive.
They didn't swing enough.
Really?
They looked like they were like, I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna see it good. Well, you ain't seeing 100 to 101 good. Like it looked like it was like, I'll work them and think about the last at bat. I mean, the last game, he kind of was not nitpicking a little bit, but he was around the corners. This time, he was just kind of going after dudes. They got behind, and then it was splinker central. It almost looked like they thought every pitch was going to be the splinker, and he only threw 7 more than he did the time before. So it was like he got them. Cam, you know what I'm talking about? Like you're sitting in that spot where you're like, all right, I'm gonna see him. Like I'm dang it, I'm 0-2. Or how did I get 1-2 already? Like I'm not. Instead of I'm gonna wreck. Nope. I'm going to wreck it, yeah, and then you're on it. And to me, that's what you have to do with a guy who doesn't have the exploding fastball, the fastball that's going to get by you, and he made it look like it was going to get by him because it looked like they were a little maybe yes.
That's where people are confused.
And that's a great point, Kratzy. Guys like that, it's 102, man. You can't be in between. And I think, to your point, when I watched those at-bats, I think they had that first outing in the back of their head. The energy was high. He was, I wouldn't say erratic, but like you said, he missed around the zone. And give the Pittsburgh Pirates credit. When you watch him, the catcher set up that game, it was a lot of middle setups. Like, hey, you've got electric stuff. Come right at these guys. And I think that was the difference. And like I know, Kratzy, when you're behind 0-1, 0-2 against a guy like that, it's going to be a quick day at the park.
We had Radley Haddad come on, the strategic analyst for the Pirates. He was on the other day, and he was talking about, hey, what do we talk about with these guys? Compete in the zone. And to me, it looked like he competed in the zone, and the Cubs were thinking he was going to be out of the zone, thought it was going to be splinker for a ball, backdoor curve ball, that kind of thing. And it wasn't. It wasn't
Nibble City. They thought it was going to be Nibble City. And he needs to take a page from that second start as well and realize, hey, if these guys get me up here at this level, it's going to be because I'm attacking. And I think that was the difference. And you're so right, Kratzy. When I replay those at-bats, it was almost like, hey, let's see if this guy can throw strikes. Well, listen, this is maybe the most electric arm we have in the big leagues right now. You better get it ready to go, especially when he figures out that he's going to come right at guys. It's going to be a lot of 0-2 counts, a lot of behind defensive at-bats. So as a hitter, like you said, it has to be yes, no, not is it a strike, I can go. You don't have that time.
You don't have that luxury, no. I always felt like for me, 94 was that like cutoff where it was like, I can react to 94, anything above that, or with like life, maybe I'm giving you a little less miles per hour. If it's no life, I could get you like to 96. But the other thing too, you got to remember, Grandal behind the dish. He has been known for the one thing, it's ripping pitches. And those guys normally sit on corners because they know they're going to get those pitches. And the whole mindset of hammering the middle of the plate so your stuff is middle to down and off, you got to set up middle. And I think sometimes for veteran catchers, that can be tough. I felt like Grandal was more on the plate this time than he was the other time. His first start 6 days before that. So it's interesting to watch. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe they're just
you're not. You're not. Calling the games for the Tigers last year, I love picking AJ Hinch's brain. And the ex-catcher, AJ Hinch, talked about it. The stuff is through the roof in the league right now. It's elite. It's electric. It's something that we've never seen. But he goes, these guys aren't as good of pitchers as they once were. So now he goes, I'm just telling my guys to set up middle. These guys have the stuff that can get by, but they don't quite have the command yet. So I like you said, those veteran catchers having a hard time trusting that, hey, this guy's stuff, even though I'm setting up middle, it's going to play and it's going to work. And I think you're seeing more managers take that approach for sure this year.
Yeah. Paul Skenes also has a message for the world, and he spoke about it. Here it is.
Well, I remember in spring you told me that a lot of teams really only had your college stuff to go off of, but now they have a sample size at AAA and now at this level as well. How do you think you're looking forward to that challenge of the way hitters might be adjusting to you and having that chess match throughout the game?
I mean, go ahead and adjust. Good luck. Yeah.
To be young. He hadn't even been in the big leagues long enough yet to burn his head on that heater that's above him in the dugout that everybody knocks their head on and burns it. He ain't it. But I love it. I don't want, back in the day, probably when you got called up, dudes were probably like, yo, man, yo, Cam, yo, zip it, bro. No, don't zip it. You have to have confidence to succeed at this level. The difference is the dudes who are quieter about it still have that confidence.
Yeah, I love that. And everything that we heard in college, it's advertised, him challenging his teammates. I think, this is what a big league club like the Pirates needs. And Kratz, we get to the big leagues, we get complacent. Even on losing teams sometimes, it's like, hey, I'm in the big leagues, everything's great. You need a guy like that who's going to go by your teammate's locker, who's going to call you out if you're not working hard, who believes in himself because he believes in his work ethic. And I think, too, I'm going to add to this. He said that with confidence because don't forget, Paul Skenes was once a hitter not too long ago. So he knows what it is to be in a box. And he knows the stuff that I'm throwing up there, and I know how hard it was to hit the guys that didn't have my stuff. Good luck, and I love it.
He was a catcher. He wasn't a hitter. Okay, let's
had at-bats.
make sure.
Hey, he had at-bats.
Okay, he's had at bats. Okay.
102, the splinter is tough to deal with this right here. That's why he switched his occupation to pitching.
That's fair.
Yeah, and
that's fair.
I love how the question was asked and he immediately had the answer. It wasn't even a pause. He immediately had the answer ready to go. Let's bring in our first guest on FT Live right now, Paul Sewald, back on Foul Territory. Paul, great to see you, man. We're talking about Paul Skenes. So you want to give us a few minutes on Paul Skenes here first? Did you hear any of what we were saying?
Yeah, a little bit. So I've kind of followed him for the last 2 years or so. We have the same agent, so it's been pretty fun to see his success. And when you have 100-mile-an-hour bullets in your back pocket, it's easy to be very, very confident. So, but I like that quote. And he faced the same team twice, and Cam, Kratz, you don't know. It's really difficult to try and face a team the second time in 5 days. It's one of the biggest challenges for starting pitchers. So. I think he's going to be just fine from what I can see.
So what does that look like in the big league clubhouse? When a dude's making, I know it's your same agent, but when a dude's making his debut, baseball has actually pumped up somebody making a debut, so it's even more. Are guys in the clubhouse kind of are they stopping by the TV to watch that? Or are they like, whatever, overrated, he stinks, haters?
No, we have lots of people tried to chime in just a little bit. I think we were playing about the exact same time when we were in Baltimore last week, so it was hard. But I mean, lots of people were just. I mean, he's going to be a great player in this game. We're all excited that this game just continuously gets better, and you're a little bit skeptical of how good prospects are going to be, but you want them to be the best version they can be, right? That's what we want in this game. Is we want more eyes on it, and if our young studs are studs from the get-go, it opens eyes. And so everyone kind of checked in to kind of say oh, how'd he do? It's like, all right, he's throwing 100-mile-an-hour bullets, a lot of punch outs, it's the first one, so everyone kind of shakes that off. But then 5 days later you strike out 11, you're no hit, 6 innings. It's like, okay, let's got something.
Paul, one thing I want to say is I went to Baseball References, and I'm happy to say never had to face you. I think I might have got left in a hole on deck a couple of times, and I'm like, these are the guys that give me trouble. The guys that with command, with that sneaky stuff, with the ability to never give in. I watch you, I'm going, man, how am I going to approach this guy? But to add to your point, Paul Skenes, I was looking at it too. Facing the same team 2 times in a row. I was going, that's going to be a real test. And two, a team like the Cubs, right? You have a new manager. You have a team who has a higher expectation. So I was looking at how is he going to fare second time through. So I love that point that you made. But I want to give you your flowers, right? I want to talk about you, one, being, part of the white T-shirt gang. It seems like every time I see you, you got a white T-shirt on, which I love. Send me the plug for that white T-shirt, Connect.
That's my look.
I love it. I love it. But two, to see all the stuff in the game nowadays, to see all the high, velo guys, just ripping StatCast apart. But then you have a guy like yourself taking pride, showing that you still can be extremely successful, extremely wanted in this league by understanding what you do well and understanding how to get guys out. How much pride do you still take in being that guy?
Yeah, I mean, it's very easy. The very first thing everyone has on the scoreboard is the velocity, right? It's on the TV. It's in huge letters or huge numbers in stadiums. And so everyone can really focus on that. And I lack in that department. But the key in this game, if you're going to pitch, is to have something that is outside of the norm, something that's different, whether it's deception, whether it's, a lot of movement, if it's a lot of velocity. And so I'm short in the department of velocity. So the good thing is I have a lot of deception and I found that a couple pitches really work. And if I throw them at the right location, have incredible grades. And so it's just about making sure you know what you do really well and then doing it as often as possible. I think that's the number one thing. It's the number one challenge every team has with everybody, but it's the number one thing that you can break through. I was kind of a 4A guy, didn't really know my place. And then I went to Seattle and they said, if you throw a sweeper slider and fastballs up, you're going to be successful. And I kind of figured I might as well take the chance, and it worked, and haven't looked back since. And just now I know who I am. And so these scouting reports are so important, but at the end of the day, if you know what you're good at, that's the most important thing. So I found that throwing fastballs up works. And even if it's only 91, 92, it seems to be okay for me.
Yeah, it's wild. I have a question for you in terms of, how you see a pitcher convert from the minor leagues to the major leagues. Are there any indicators for you, because you've been in the game for a minute now, that help you determine if someone's going to be able to have success, or at least quick success, in the major leagues? Like, is there something that you see when a pitcher comes up, whether it's, stuff wise, where you're like, all right, he's got this is probably going to play no matter what. And obviously we can play the velocity game, but is there anything else?
Yeah, I think if there was an answer, I'd be a very coveted person in a front office. There's no true answer, but you just I think over the course of maybe, this is why people give slack for rookies. It's kind of like you kind of need a huge sample size to see, like, how do they make adjustments? How do they take failure probably for the first time? Like, I mean, Jackson Holliday is a perfect example. I don't think he's ever had a bad stretch in his entire life. For the first one to be in the big leagues, how does he take that, and run with it and kind of get back on the right track? Skenes is going to have a couple starts that don't go well. That's just the way this game works. This game is extremely difficult, whether you have a 100-mile-an-hour fastball or an 85-mile-an-hour fastball. And so it's hard to tell how these rookies are going to do when they first come up. Now, if they have plus stuff, that gives them, a longer leash than the rest of us. But at the same time, these hitters are just so incredible. If they can find something in you, it doesn't matter how good your stuff is. So I think a lot of it is just how they adapt to failing, how they adapt to, I bring it up again, but like, if you have to face a team for the second time or the third time, now that they've seen, a little bit of what you have, maybe they have a tip on one of your pitches. So you have to be good at making sure that you don't have any tips on your pitches. It's just a game of adjustments, and, as quickly as you can make adjustments will be the determining factor in how good you can be in this league.
Hey, Paul, let me ask this question, because you hit on a great point, and it's something I've really been thinking about a lot lately. I actually tweeted it about how hard our game is, how difficult this game is. And you talk about adjustments and adversity. Maybe maybe you can't answer this. Maybe this would be a better question for him. But how have you watched a guy who I think, when I watch you guys compete, you guys are still right where you need to be. Corbin Carroll, a young guy who had a tremendous rookie season, a great year. Now he has, ran into some early struggles. How have you seen him handle that adversity as a leader, a guy that you guys are going to need to get back to where you want to go?
Yeah, Corbin is just putting his hard hat on and going in the cages and going to work. That's who he is, and he's going to keep doing that until the last game of the season, whether that's October 1st, whether it's November 1st. And it doesn't matter if he's going to be hitting 190 or if we're going to look up at the end of the year and say, oh, he hit 270 and had 30 homers. And so I think all of us believe in Corbin as much as anybody. I think it's just very difficult when you have such an incredible rookie season and then everyone starts to put these expectations that you have to be better than that in your sophomore season and your third season. And it's like, if that was literally the best season of Corbin's career, that's still an incredible season. If he's just that guy the rest of his career, he's going to be a 10-time All-Star in this league. But we just assume that because you're good your rookie year, you're going to be even better your sophomore season. It's just sometimes it's unrealistic. And a lot of it, I'm seeing just so many connections to what I saw from Julio last year, is that it's very difficult for everyone to place you in this face of baseball category when you're just so young. And so I think he's going to be just fine, just like Julio got it together last year. And I have no doubt that Corbin will get his stats right where we'll need him on October 1st. It's just a matter of time. And sometimes it's an adjustment. And you guys know, if your April is bad, we start to panic, even though if you had a great April and May and had a bad June, no one really worries about it because your stats are a certain level. So at the end of 6 months, I think we're going to be just fine with Corbin. He just got off to a little bit of a start, but back-to-back triples and watching him run like the wind was pretty fun the last couple of days. Hopefully he can take that into the series in LA.
How about the whole team? If we're talking September 30th and you guys are in the playoffs, how did you turn it around from May 20th?
I think the number one thing will be health. It's hard. I don't like to use excuses, but when you lose more players than win games in a 10-game road trip in April, that's a difficult stretch for the team. And we're losing people who are staples to our team. We're not necessarily losing the 24th, 25th, 26th guy on the roster. You're losing a closer, you're using your third starter, you bring in Monty late so he wasn't there. We're losing Merrill Kelly, who's our number 2. We're just losing our shortstop and our center field. They're 2 staples in the middle of our field. We're losing some very, very important players, and that's been difficult to try and ride the wave. And the guys did a great job while I was gone for a month, and we started to play a little bit better. And we just have to stay afloat until we start to get some more of our guys back and then kind of start to go on a run. But I think they've done a great job. It's really difficult. You're putting guys that aren't necessarily built for the roles they had to have in the month of April, and it was difficult. But I think we're starting to. I think we've done a really good job of kind of leveling out everything, our emotions, and we're just trying to go to work. And they were the best team in the league, in the National League, for the first 3 months, and then we had the worst 6 weeks of any team in the league, and then we kind of backed our way in. And so I think at this point we know 6 months is a long season. We're going to be just fine. We just need to stay afloat. And once we get on a roll, we're just not going to look back.
Hey, what's up with Torey Lovullo and Jack Flaherty going at it a little bit this weekend? What was the story there?
I mean, I'm so far. I'm 400 feet away from all the good stuff. I don't even know what's happening. I found that out after my wife was like, "Did you see this during the game?" She was on Twitter. I was like, "I don't even know what's going on." So, Jack and Zach have gone back a long time. They've been friends for a long time. I think they were kind of jawing at each other about the mound and trying to figure out, it's everybody's right to make sure they have the mound exactly the way they wanted. And Zach is on the far third base side, and apparently Jack was too. And they started mixing each other up, and just a little bit of good trash talk. There's nothing wrong with it. I enjoy a little bit of trash talk. I like being on the winning side and doing it a little bit more than taking it like we were the other day. But that's just one of those things. Now
everybody sees Torey in the trash talk, but what I see is Jeff Bannister getting up there, and I'm not gonna. This is no shade at Torey. I am not messing with Banny. If Banny is up there hollering at me, I'll be like, you know what? Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I'll just kind of shut up. But
anybody who's ever met Jeff Bannister would agree with that.
Yes.
Torey's the manager, and I would still, if I had to pick somebody to fight, I would fight the manager just to make sure that I lived to see another day.
That was going to be my question. But you don't get to choose who wins. You don't get to choose who you fight because players can't fight; they have to stay in the game. Who wins in a fight? Torey Lovullo or Jeff Bannister if Torey Lovullo gets Gabe Kapler on his side?
I think Banny could take down Kapler and Torey, and that's no insult to Skip. I just I wouldn't want to end up fisticuffs with Jeff Bannister at any point in my life. I try to sweet talk him as often as I can to make sure I'm on that good side. I never want to be on that bad side.
Tell him when you see him today or tomorrow. Tell him that I said I would take him down, and it's not even close. He knows exactly who Daddy is.
All right. That's bold. Kratzy. I wouldn't want to be in the middle of him.
That is crazy.
He's a monster.
Yes, he is. Paul, on you individually for a sec, how are you feeling? Because obviously you had the late start to the season, but you've been off to a great start since coming back.
Yeah, feeling good. I'm still trying to get the hang of it, trying to get back into rhythm. I wouldn't say that my stuff for my velo are where I would love them on May 20th or whatever we are today. It's just part of the grind of trying to come back from an injury, but we did everything we possibly could to get back as quickly as possible. And I just applaud our rehab team and our recovery team and the team in general for just being on my side and trying to give me everything I can to be back as quickly as possible. And, it's just one of those things. It was the first time I've ever been injured. It was disappointing, but, we tried to take the look that I'd rather be out for April than, August or September. So I feel good, and I'm excited to be back in there, and we're trying to work back into the best version of myself, and just trying to throw strikes in the meantime until we really get everything going. But feels good to be back out there. It was a brutal month watching games on TV. My wife doesn't want to watch games with me anymore. She thinks I'm annoying. So it's good. It's good to be out there and get to let my emotions go without wondering if I'm making a scene at home.
What does that conversation sound like? Because we always talk about velo being down, not the conversation with your wife, the conversation with the team about the velo being down from his normal, 92, 94, it's 90 to 92. Do you have to tell the organization, hey, you know what, maybe this is what I'm going to be working at, but my efficiency is where I need it to be and I don't feel my side? Or what kind of conversations are had like that? Because I feel like those conversations can be had with a lot of guys like, hey, you know what, today I'm going to throw 94, 96. I know I can be 96 to 100, and I know it's in there. But if you talk about it ahead of time, it's not, oh, no, he's not throwing his normal velocity. Why is he off the IL?
Yeah, no, this is just a credit to the organization from Hayes down, and especially Tori and I's relationship of the fact that he trusts that when I speak to him honestly, that I'm giving my total honest feedback. And then I appreciate that when I ask him a question, he is giving me, the perspective of the team and making sure that we just have really good dialogue. And so, there were conversations that I was like, hey, I can come back quicker, but not, 100% where I can't go back to back, or I can't do 3 out of 4, or I can't, I'm not going to have my extra velo, or I can wait a few more weeks in rehab and, try to make sure that when I come back, you can use me however you want. And there's just really good dialogue of saying, we'd like to have you, when we can manage, your workload. We can just manage everything that you need as long as you feel like you're healthy and there's no injury concerns. We'd love to have you back. And so that's just a credit to the recovery team getting me back as quickly as I possibly can to be healthy, and a credit to Tori and the team of just saying, hey, we will take your feedback totally honestly. You let us know when you can go back to back. You let us know when you feel good enough, and we'll go from there. So just good communication, and that's Tori's strong suit. Anyone who knows him just knows that he's just a great communicator, and so those were easy conversations, and I appreciated that.
Paul, I want to ask you about a 2019 teammate of yours who's coming back from a long-term injury. Have you seen what Edwin Diaz has gone through over the past week? And do you feel for him? And what insight can you give us about what he's going through? Because obviously, A, you're a closer, and B, you know him personally.
Yeah, no. No one wants. I want Sugar to be unstoppable and have the trumpets going as much as anybody. He's an amazing teammate, an incredible pitcher, a closer like myself. Like I want all the best things for Sugar, and to see SNY and Steve Gelbs' report that he was crying after speaking to reporters just goes to show you that, like, it doesn't matter if he made a gajillion dollars and he doesn't have to worry about it anymore. He only cares about going out there and doing well for the team and trying to help the Mets win. And it just goes to show you who he is. And it was like heartbreaking to read and hear that he is feeling so bad about how he's pitched. And, I was there for a couple of the bad moments, and he took them really poorly, and all he did was look for answers like, how can I pitch better? How can I pitch better? There was no sulking. It kind of was just like, I'll do anything to try and pitch better. Just please help me. And then you get to see him in 22, and he's the greatest pitcher alive. And it's just, he'll get back on that role. I know he will. And I hope it's in 2 weeks after we play them. I hope it's after our series that he starts to get on a roll. But I can't wait for him to get back to it. And we can't wait to see the trumpets going. I'll be excited to say hello to him. And we probably won't talk about baseball. We'll probably just talk about everything else, but it'll be good to see him. And I wish nothing but the best for Edwin Diaz. And I hope he gets it back on track, but just in 2 weeks after we leave New York.
Okay. And last one for me, follow up. Do you text? Like, is there a former closer fraternity kind of thing where you just send like that quickie, like, yo, we know we crushed the ninth. This is just a blip. Go do your thing.
We haven't. Maybe I'll give it a couple days, or maybe like I said, I'm going there in a week, so maybe we'll just catch up while we're there during BP or before the game or whatever. But it'll be good to see him and just say like, hey man, you're the best pitcher alive. Like, don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. It's just short term. So that's the biggest thing in our spot, is just having a short term memory, and whether he's going to throw the ninth this week or next, and that's up to them. And once he gets going and he starts to get back on a roll, they're going to, he'll laugh about having a bad stretch, just like we always do. It's, everyone has a stretch during the season where they feel like they can't get anybody out. And the next thing you're unstoppable for 2 months. It's just one of those things. And it's one of the craziest parts about being a closer or a relief pitcher is, the riding the waves, and we just try to even them out as much as possible. But the highs are extremely high, but if you blow leads and you blow games, the lows are pretty low. So just wishing nothing but the best for him to get the roller coaster going up in the right direction again.
Last quick one from me. You guys seem like you're buddies. Let's say going into the series, you walk into the clubhouse, first game of the series against the Mets, and there on the screen is Edwin Diaz's tip. He's tipping. After the series, do you tell Sugar, hey, you know what? We got something on you, or you keep that to yourself?
I would probably share that after the series to Edwin, because he's not in our division. We'll play them one more time. It's difficult because I've had this issue, and it's like, you need the competitive advantage, but at what point do I share with my friends something that I have? Depending on if it's going to come down to if Edwin Diaz pitches well and we miss the playoffs because they play, it's just kind of like one of those difficult things. But I've had that happen to me on the other side. And so I would like to, if we have something, I would probably tell Sugar after the series, like, hey, this is what we saw. Just so you have some feedback.
Hey, clean it up, Sugar. Clean it up. No, that's good. And I know
it's hard enough as it is. I don't need hitters knowing what I'm throwing.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I get it.
Fair. And Jace, we if fans want to look back, we talked about it in the past with Paul, but Jace Peterson hooked him up at one point last year, which was cool. So people can backtrack to that story. But Paul, awesome catching up with you, dude. Great to see you back and firing, and we'll catch you again soon. All right.
Good to be healthy and good to be back on. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we missed you. Good to talk to you, man. We'll talk to you soon. Paul Sewald with us on FT Live. Okay, let's move to a little bit of language learning for a quick moment here.
Watch your language.
I will. And I will do it in English, but eventually I hope to do this in Spanish. Babbel is the science-backed language learning app that actually works. There it is. You'll hear that a lot if you download the app. Babbel's designed by real people for real conversations. That's why we love this app. The word real, very important on FT. How important, Cam, is it for teammates to be able to communicate, and how much respect do you have for certain teammates that suddenly show up the next year and they can speak English, or vice versa, a teammate that suddenly can communicate and be bilingual and speak Spanish?
Well, one, it is not only humbling, because I know I haven't put in the type of work and the time to try to understand, their language. So I think Babbel would be huge. I wish I would have had it when I was playing, because, man, all of my broken Spanish, teammates laughing at me, I think it would have been a huge huge help when you talk about the translation barrier, when you talk about communication, when you talk about sharing information with your teammates. I think it's extremely important. So, I respect all of those guys, wherever country they may be from. When they come over here and you see them put the work, the time in. I love seeing guys like Ellie De La Cruz do his interviews in English, and to show everybody that he's taking a lot of pride in trying to learn the American culture as well. So I think it's fascinating. I think it's awesome. And I think we all need to make sure we get Babbel and get better at a different language.
I'm with you, and there are a lot of ways to do it on the app. Yes, you'll hear that on the activity tracker, which makes you stay on top of the daily streak. So make sure that you're staying on the app so you don't get too confused and suddenly a few days pass by and you're like, damn, I'm not learning my Spanish anymore. There's also an explore everyday conversation section, which is something that you can put down if you're interested in talking about these like more casual combos in the language, as opposed to like the hardcore grammar school type of conversation. You can pick whatever you want, but that's where I go. I know that's where Kratz goes too. So make sure you go check it out right now. You hear that little Babbel? Pretty frequent. There it is. For a special limited time deal for our listeners right now, you can get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/foul territory. It's up to 60% off at babbel.com/foul territory, spelled BABBEL.com/foul territory. Rules and restrictions apply. And with Babbel, you can learn everything you need to have real world conversations, from vocabulary words to culture. And all it takes is just a little 10 minutes a day.
I want to learn Russian. I want to have the accent with my English. I want to speak English, but with Russian accent.
Oh, great.
I'm not joking. My 11-year-old has Babbel, and he's like practicing like Mandarin. And I'm like, why? He's like, I love Naruto. I love anime. I just want to learn. I want to learn something. I'm like, what? It's just random.
Kids learn it.
Kids love it. It's a great app. I'm telling you.
Kids learn it so fast. It's ridiculous.
It is. Fast. Yes. We need a lot more time. We're adults. Let's hit Hot Corner. Oh, and I do have to give a little, I messed up, babbel.com/foul.
Foul, F-O-U-L.
I said foul territory because I love our show. Foul, F-O-U-L. Good job. Stay hot. All right. Do we like these St. Louis Cardinals City Connects? Yes or no? Who wants it?
Just kind of mid.
You guys didn't respond as quickly as Paul Skenes did when they asked if he's going to make adjustments, so I'm not feeling super confident. Mid?
You know what?
It's
mid. I give it mid. You know what? I don't like about it is they didn't deviate far from like the normal scheme.
Thank you.
Everybody else just went, out on a limb, kind of went out there a little bit, and I thought that's what the City Connect was for. It's like, what is the reasoning behind that? What's the story behind it? It looks the same. I don't know. I'm not feeling it. I feel like it wasn't a lot of effort. I mean, the Lou, I get it. Nelly might be proud of that, but I don't know. It's kind of tired. I'm not feeling it. They could have definitely went with some yellow, something different.
It's just like they could have. I thought something cool because the birds, the cardinal on the front of the jersey is cool. I thought they could have done something that nobody else has done, like a cardinal, like behind the number on the back of the jersey, like something like
fire,
something that would be like
even a different color scheme too. Like you got a little bit of yellow accent. Why don't we hit it with the yellow and then maybe something different, man? You got to throw something in there, maybe a little yellow and black and red. I don't know. That's just me.
It just looked like Cam on the dance floor, like Cardinals, like everything right here, and then they're like, "Oh, City Connect," and then he went like this. They were like, "That's all they did." Like they stayed with their same move. There's not much like if Mason Wynn is like the future shortstop of your team, he shouldn't look like he's got a trucker hat on when he puts the hat on. It shouldn't look like it's a billion. It should be something where you're like, oh, like, yo, I really want that hat.
See, even that yellow, right? You could have did a yellow jersey. You could have did some red and white accent. You could have just flipped. I mean, you didn't have to go crazy, but just even yellow, like you said, make the birds stick out a little bit more, pop a little bit more. Yeah. I like what the Rays did, like something like that. Like you said, do some type of cool design that you really have to kind of look to catch the details. I know it wasn't a lot of effort on this one, if you ask me.
I thought it looked like a spring training uniform, and it was safe. It wasn't City Connect.
I don't like
also,
the Lou.
You don't like what?
I don't like the Lou either.
Yeah, well, I'm going to hold that one for people that are from the area. Like, you tell me if you're really connecting with that.
That's fair.
I don't know. I looked at socials. Like, I saw it kind of mixed more towards we don't want that. And, of course, fans, and especially international fans, are like, well, that's our bathroom. So, for some fans.
That's what I said in 2002. Nelly would have loved it. The St. Lunatics and that whole vibe. Yeah, that would have been great in OVC. But you're like, come on, man.
Here's my other thing that I wanted, right? This is where you take a little more of a chance, but it's not even that much of a chance. You have the arch on the side patch. That's got to be here. That's got to be on the meat. That's got to be on the chest, right?
Something.
The arch is St. Louis. That's like that's a layup.
But maybe the city doesn't connect with it. Maybe that's like a gimmicky thing that tourists really like, and the city's like, no, this isn't what we're about. Like, we're about this. We're about. I don't know.
Well, what is St. Louis really about, Kratzy? Like,
right? That's what I don't know.
Like I've never and again, I always say, greatest fan base to me. I think they have the best fan base. They love watching a game, enjoying a game. But I've never been to St. Louis and guys are like, let's go check this out, or like, what? I don't know. Like, what are they? Like, what are they known for? Like, guys stay in the room, stay in the hotel. Like, it's. I don't know. I'm curious, like you said, like I'm with Scott. Throw the arches on there, something that represents St. Louis a little bit.
So it's like Wayne's World when they go to Delaware. Like, we're in Delaware.
I would have done the bright yellow and just put "We miss Yachty."
Oh,
no, I'm just kidding.
Too soon.
St. Louis is known for Yachty. Yeah. I would have asked him to do it. Hey, Yachty, you design it.
Or even like to me,
it's not bad. It's
the
just
Yankees.
safe.
The Yankees aren't going to do a City Connect jersey. I don't think they could have put something about all their championships, and like then they've been like calling the Yankees out, like, hey, you can put that in yours if you want.
How about honor the retired legends and put a bunch of numbers?
Yeah, that's what I think. You take the numbers and then you kind of hide them in there as little accents. Like I said, the Rays did a great job of hiding little art, elements that you kind of couldn't see. I thought that was really cool. But like the Yankees, that would have been super sweet. Just like an all navy, like sweet art accent, like complete pinstripe navy uni would have been crazy.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do it.
No, it won't happen.
No. If you followed FT like a few weeks ago, you already knew what the uniform was going to look like because Lance Lynn dropped it on this show.
The only thing that I can say is maybe that we haven't even done the modeling yet, so that's why I haven't seen it. But all I know is it says for the Lou or something like that. I don't really know.
What's that?
So
the Lou?
I don't know what it's got on, or has it got STL on? I know I've only seen the hats. I think they're going to be the hat from the hat I saw and what I'm hearing. I think they're going to be nice and they're going to be throwback in a throwback style that's going to. It should be enjoyable. So. But I've not seen the jersey all laid out yet.
Enjoyable. It's enjoyable.
Yeah. No, we're not trashing it. If you want to hear us trash jerseys, there's other ones that we've covered, and there's some that we've praised. And we were with you, Cam. I think everybody praised the Rays. It's not gray.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. But a yellow hat, white bill, red cardinal would have been crazy.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Or like a yellow bill. Because the yellow beak on the Cardinal. Something.
Boom. Come on. Call me and call Kratzy and myself, Scott, and we'll design the next one for St. Louis.
Nope. Call Cam. I got nothing.
Holler at me.
Cam, you got it.
He's got it.
At yourself. Yep.
All right, so let's move to the Blue Jays, and they have been struggling as a team. Yes, then Ross Atkins spoke out. We'll get to that hopefully later. But I do want to focus individually on hot corner Alex Manoah, who's starting to put some positive starts together quietly too. Not a lot of attention yet, quietly, because this was a guy who's larger than life, was third in Cy Young a couple years ago. He was commanding attention every time he pitched. He talks while he's pitching during the All-Star game. He's mic'd up. He's got all the confidence that we're referring to with Paul Skenes right now, right? Big dude, big personality, not scared of anyone. And lost it for a year and change. Is he back?
Yeah.
Seven innings, no earned run, 7 Ks. He's got a 3 ERA after what, 3 or 4 starts? Is he back?
You know what? It's hard for me to say he's back, right? What I'm seeing is a humble guy, a humble baseball player. You're not seeing all that talking that you saw, the last year and a half. And I think, I'm all about being confident. I'm all about believing your stuff. But one thing I don't think you should do in the big leagues is add fuel to anybody's fire. When you start showing guys up, when you start rubbing it in guys' faces, it puts a target on your back. And I think Alex Manoah went through a humbling experience that maybe he needed from a character growth standpoint. I love the guy's confidence. I've spoken with him on numerous occasions, and I love the competitor that he is. It's tough to say he's back. That was a great outing for him, a much needed outing for the Blue Jays, and their whole entire organization needed that kind of outing for him, a little bit of life. So hopefully he can build on it. But I think for him, the biggest thing, where he lost is his command. He got a little erratic over the last few years, not like we talked about earlier in the show, attacking the zone, being on the attack. And it put him on the defense because he wasn't attacking. He was nibbling a lot, falling behind the count. And Kratzy knows, like I know, in this league, if you fall behind, I don't care how good your stuff is. And his stuff isn't Paul Skenes. We talk about Paul Skenes. It isn't Paul Skenes type stuff. So you better make sure that your stuff is on point, your command is where it should be, your game plan is where it should be, and you are locked in. But I think it was a humbling experience, and I think he needed it. But time will tell, and we'll see if he's back, because I know that target is not off his back of yet.
Not yet. The sliders for strikeouts were closer to the zone. There was more, and maybe that's boding to his confidence. Maybe that's just this outing. The Rays were, yes, they were still chasing pitches. Everybody needs chase. Mm-hmm. The Cy Young every year is going to lead the league in chase out of the zone. But that's because they're in the zone, and then they go out of the zone.
And how far?
And that is the biggest thing. His misses on his slider were so much smaller in that start. And whatever it was, maybe it was the fact that he was confident. He was back in the big leagues, day game in Toronto. He's facing the division that he dominated before in his All-Star year. I don't know. Is he back yet? I don't think he's back yet. I think you got to go through the struggle. Then you go through, hey, you know what? I'm building on it. What does he do now when teams see what adjustments he's made? That's when he's back. When he can push it through the All-Star break doing this, that's back. And that makes this a much better team.
He's on the pathway to back right now.
He's on the pathway.
Those are good results.
Yeah. The right direction.
Yes, exactly. All right, I want to re-announce what we said at the top of the show. We have a brand new show as part of the Foul Territory Network. It is called Northside Territory. The stars of that show joining us right now, right after their debut episode, which dropped this morning. Patrick Mooney and Sahadev Sharma joining us from The Athletic right now. Great to see you both. And I'll address you one at a time so I don't confuse everyone, because we've got 4 boxes here going on right now. But first off, Patrick, how excited are you to launch this with your buddy, and you two obviously covering the team on a daily basis for The Athletic, and now to kind of re-bring this out to the world? Many fans missed you.
No, I mean, we have followed you guys from the start, and I think kind of your compass on this is what we do at The Athletic. We may have different perspectives or find out different stuff, but we all want to take readers, our audience, our listeners to the same place, right? Of like, what's going on in the clubhouse, what's going on in the front office, like what information can we get to explain what's happening? And, honestly, part of it, I just kept hearing Erik Kratz explain how like sloppy the 2018 Cubs were. And I just need a full download of what Craig Counsell really thought of the Cubs a couple of years ago before he took this job.
Tragic. The Cubs were tragic. As a Brewers lifer now, for the 17 minutes that I played for the Brewers, all I know is that only AJ Pierzynski hates the Cubs worse than a Brewers fan.
There was a lot of good stuff there. They were pitch tipping and stuff like that. And, definitely Craig Counsell, we found out, is all about the details.
Yes, he is.
So, Sahadev, take us through Yeah, your thoughts on what Patrick just said, but also you can add to that what fans will get with the first episode that's out now.
Yeah, no, I'm so excited to be a part of the Foul Territory team. We've watched from afar. Obviously, our good friend Ken Rosenthal is a part of the network, and when he's a part of something, it's special. The first episode, I think it kind of dropped at a good time. The Cubs are kind of struggling right now. They're still above 500. They're staying afloat, but when things don't go well, fans want to understand why, what's going wrong. This is a team that comes in with high expectations because of Craig Counsell. Craig Counsell was their big free agent signing, right? And they are expected to get every ounce of talent out of this team. And right now, the offense doesn't look like it's supposed to look. And that's a big part of our first episode. And so is, the good, which is Shōta Imanaga, who is turning himself into a superstar. This is remarkable what he's doing, right? And it's pretty fun to watch and pretty fun to cover. So a little good, a little bad to start it off, but that's typical Cubs baseball. It's going to be the roller coaster of 162 games. I say it a lot, but John Lackey used to get annoyed with us when we'd try and break down one or two games here and there. He said, "You guys act like it's 162 seasons," and he's right. That's what fans want. Fans want to hear every little thing that's going on. We understand it's a long season; things are going to change, but every little up and down, the fans want to ride the roller coaster.
Patrick, Sahadev, good to have you guys on. I want to either one of you guys can answer this question. You talk about the struggles of the offense, but there have also been a few injuries early on, and guys still trying to catch their rhythm. I look at it from an optimistic standpoint. You're right there. I think the Cubs are going to catch the Brewers. I truly do. I think they have a deeper team. I think their staff is starting to come around. What is the optimistic outlook on where they are with what they've had to deal with, as well as, Craig Counsell's still trying to get acclimated to this team and understanding his guys, because it takes longer than just spring training to win a club over. You have to earn the respect of your guys. So what have you guys seen or hearing on the optimistic outlook on where they are with what they've been through this early part of the season?
Yeah, the offense. You're absolutely right. The offense isn't up to full speed just yet. And when Seiya Suzuki and Cody Bellinger really get back in the rhythm, I expect them to have two stars, two guys that kind of put fear in the opposition. They've also hit a stretch where it's just like every pitcher, every other day is really talented ever since they went to Boston. And I know some of these guys aren't big names, but Cutter Crawford, Tanner Houck, they're having great seasons. That just kind of started them on a run of like they're in a rut, and those guys were hurt during that stretch, and now the pitching is still like Dylan Cease, Jared Jones, Paul Skenes, Mitch Keller. I know the Pirates aren't this terrifying team, but when you're kind of in a rut, seeing tough pitching is just going to add to it. Doesn't make it easy. I agree. I expect this team to turn things around. I expect this team to be much better than they have been. The fact that they're 4 games over 500, I feel like is a win for them right now. And the offense was 6th in runs scored last year. Some of the most productive offense the Cubs have had this century, among the top 3 or 4 most productive offenses they've had. So I expect that to be better than last year. It's hard to do that. It's hard to repeat things like that, but there are certain guys that need to step up, but being healthy and when they get Nico Horner and Dansby Swanson back, I know they're not the thump of the lineup, but they're not hitting in general. So they just need guys that put up really good at-bats and kind of lengthen that lineup out.
So what is the thump of their lineup? What is the Cubs' thump of the lineup to, like, if they were like a home run slugging team and they go through a tough stretch like you were talking about, but they're not. They're not a home run hitting team, so they can't go through tough stretches. Unless I'm missing, and I get it, you're going to say, well, Christopher Morale, he hits the ball really good. He can really compact the ball with his barrels. Like, what's the thump? Because the guy you signed back in Cody Bellinger only had 25 homers. I'm not saying that it's not thump, and I know he's a 42 home run guy in his rookie year, but where's the thump at?
That's a great question. I mean, Cam, you've known Jed Hoyer a long time, and he is obsessed with depth, and he is not as into that star power or making headlines. And that's been something that we've talked about for a long time, of like, who is that force that can carry a team. And right now you're not seeing it. There's hopes. I can't do the voice, but Christopher Morel would be one they would point to. Seiya Suzuki, in their mind, has all the attributes, kind of the swing qualities and decision-making capabilities to be a great middle-of-the-order hitter. He hasn't quite stayed healthy enough or consistent enough to be that. So, yeah, and that hitter's not really coming through the farm system either. It's not like they had, a Chris Bryant or Kyle Schwarber waiting to like pop here. And we all know how big that gap is between like AAA and the majors now. So the star right now is Shōta. I mean, they've been getting by on pitching and kind of piecing it together with depth. And I think the optimism we talked about earlier was there. And just in the last couple of days where it's really kind of started to wear a little thin.
Get after it, Cam. I know you wanted to ask about a pitcher.
Yeah.
I
do. I got a few questions for these guys. I'm gonna ask Patrick. Right now, what is the temperature? We talk about that pop, that thump, that meat. Where is it gonna come from? But what we haven't talked about is my good friend, and I want to check his. What's the temperature of in-hap? We talk about the possibility of where offense can go, and we talk about I think he's going to be fine because he is a guy that understands the zone. I think Belly is going to be okay, but in-hap is an integral part of the success that the Cubs are going to have. We look at how he struggled after the past few seasons, coming along, looking like he was really going to be that guy, and I still think he is. What's his temperature? What's the team's temperature? We can talk about Kyle Hendricks, but how much are they relying on in-hap to get back to the guy that they know he has to be?
Yeah, I mean, no doubt that's been a big part of this underperforming offense. And Ian has been a little streaky over his career. I think it was the 21 trade deadline there where he was really kind of lost and then took off again after they traded away Javi and Rizzo and KB. And so, yeah, they're waiting for that. And I think that's kind of an interesting part here of like, okay, Mike Tauchman is playing really well as a role player. Pete Crow Armstrong is your best defensive center fielder. Like, how much patience is a new manager going to have? And I still think Ian Happ's track record warrants some faith here. He's a really, as you know, Cam, a smart, hardworking player who thinks about his craft and the game all the time. That's become a big part of this team's culture, that they are not the team that's kind of like tipping all their pitches and kind of blowing off batting practice. Like, it's a really connected group, and Ian has to get out of that for this offense to reach its full capabilities, no doubt.
Let's have some fun with pitching. Sahadev, I got two for you. Shōta Imanaga dazzling again this weekend, and fans want to know how sustainable it is. Number two, way more overlooked, Javier Assad and what he's done with this team right now.
Yeah, how sustainable is Shōta? I'm just as curious as that. I mean, he can't do this, right? That's not possible. He can't have a sub-1 ERA for a full season. I understand that. I think the big thing is, he's got this carry fastball. How does that translate when the summer months really hit? It has been a pitcher's weather for the most part at Wrigley Field. He has not faced a lineup twice just yet. I want to see how those things go. I don't think it's a situation where the wheels are going to fall off. That's just not going to happen. He's a veteran. I know he's a rookie here, but he's a veteran. He knows how to pitch. He's very confident on the mound. There are going to be bad games. He's going to give up multiple homers in a game. He's going to have a bad outing. It's going to happen eventually. I think he's the type of guy that knows how to adjust. He has more pitches than just that splitter and the four-seamer that's really hard to pick up for the hitters. He has breaking balls. He knows how to pitch. I think he's going to be a very good pitcher for the remainder of this season. I just, it's impossible to live up to this standard, but it's been insane to watch and doing research and seeing, the names that pop up. Like I wasn't old enough to watch Fernando Valenzuela dominate, but I certainly heard about it, and it's kind of cool to see something similar in the sense that this guy he knows how to perform on the mound too. He knows how to play up for the crowd. The fans love him. Assad is, man, I've talked to some of the players about it too, and they're like, after a while, you just have to say, hey, this guy's good. Stop wondering what's going on. Stop saying it's small sample size or he doesn't have nasty stuff or anything like that. Yeah, maybe he's not throwing 97. Maybe he doesn't have this ridiculous breaking ball. He knows how to pitch. He knows how to get outs, and he's got a really good two-seamer. Craig Counsell tries to hammer that to us after every start. He just wants to make sure we understand that's a really good pitch. Hitters have a tough time picking it up. He knows how to get that right on the edge. They think it's a ball. It comes right back into the zone. I did not expect this from Javier Assad. I had a friend that's a scout that saw him back in pre-pandemic when he was in low A or something like that, and told me to watch him, but he said he needs to gain a ton of velocity, but he knows how to pitch. He saw that back then. The fact that they teased out more velocity and now he's up here and doing this among the best pitchers in baseball, I don't think anybody saw that. They're thrilled with it, obviously. But to have a 1-2 punch like that, I don't think many people expected that to be the 1-2 punch.
No, I'm gonna pull a Kratzy and I'm gonna get straight to it. Let's just address the elephant in the room. Where are we on Kyle Hendricks, the longest tenured Cub? We're hearing a lot of rumblings about him being in limbo right now. If he is in limbo, what is his role moving forward? Is it giving him a break to kind of mentally reset? Is it moving him to a long relief type of role? What's going on with Kyle Hendricks, who I know is a guy that all of those guys respect in that clubhouse? He's done it at a high level. He's got a lot of outs, a lot of big outs for the Cubs. Where are the Cubs right now, Kyle Hendricks?
I think, if you're putting together a list of the most impactful pitchers in Cubs history, Kyle Hendricks is certainly towards the top. He kind of turbocharged that rebuild, and like you said, Cam, is just an amazing representative for the team. Young pitchers flock to him. Everyone wants to hear his perspective on things. Really kind of an institution around the team. But that history didn't really do too much for Craig Counsell, right? There's respect there, but there's not a super long personal relationship, and just the results have not been there. And so I think the Cubs still have so many pitchers on the injured list that I don't know if they would feel great about just kind of cutting ties at this point, given the rate of injuries and just how many innings they have to cover and the respect that they have for Kyle. But, their starter for Thursday is TBD. And I think they're going to take this off day to give some space to kind of think about things and how they can kind of get Kyle back on track. But it's really been hard to watch. And the awkward part of this first third of the season has been the Cubs kind of overcoming adversity, keeping their heads above water. And Kyle Hendricks just hasn't been a part of it in that way. As good as Shōta has been, a 99th percentile outcome, Kyle Hendricks has been the total opposite of that.
All right. This is the last one for us. Patrick, we need to get the territory fans connected with you guys. So Sahadev, this is not connected to you, but this is for Cubs fans to connect to Northside territory. We just got to make sure that Cubs fans know we don't have Kyle Chandler on Northside territory. Have you ever been mistaken for the dad from Friday Night Lights?
I have not. That's
just so Cubs fans know, this is not
facts.
This is not your Northside territory guy. Okay.
I need to get a sweet windbreaker like that. Maybe a Northside territory windbreaker and some the 70s bike shorts that Joe Madden would wear in spring training with the high socks. That could be a good look for us.
And a whistle.
Yes, for sure.
For sure.
We need a tagline too. a clear eyes, full hearts can't lose tagline. Something.
It's got like an undefeated look, like, oh, we just won 48-0 or something, right?
Yeah.
It's a little bit like smug.
It's a smug look. That's not a Cubs look. That's more like a Dodgers after the offseason look. Yeah. A Cubs look is totally different than that.
That's not a lovable loser look.
No, it's not. It's not.
Exactly. Well, there you go. Something for the casual fans to digest. Guys, congrats. Awesome to have you on the FT network. We're excited about this. We'll keep letting the world know where they can get their hyper-focused Cubs content on a daily basis. We appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
Hey, thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Go check out North Side Territory for a little Cubs talk. They get into Hendricks in depth and Imanaga and some of what we talked about at the top with the offense and Craig Counsell, and you get a lot more of that. 4 times a week. Shows are available. Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your pods, go check it out. And they have a YouTube channel that just launched today as well. If you want to hear the audio version of the show on YouTube, go for it. Cool. Another family member.
Love it.
I love it too.
They're starting to compete now a little bit.
Oh, the different shows, Dodgers,
Cubs. Like,
Braves.
I mean, we'll just see. Hey, if Cubs fans are really like that good, they'll start beating out the Dodgers territory. But hey, you know what? Whatever. If Cubs fans don't want to, it's fine.
Yeah, it's family and it's competition. It's competitive.
I was about to say we need competition over here. We need it. We thrive off of it.
It makes everyone better. Okay, so actually, on that note, this show, Foul Territory, is hosted by all former major leaguers plus me, just trying to keep up with these guys, right? So we are into daily health, energy, gut health, the whole deal. Pretty obvious. So we want to talk about AG1. I first gave AG1 a try because a friend recommended it to me a while back, and it's helped me on many levels. Focus, stress, gut health, big one for me. I'm also allergic to gluten and dairy, and this covers both categories there. So make sure you take ownership of your health by visiting drinkag1.com/foul. But I'm not the only one, because this on the desk here right now, and I've been on the road a lot, so I've got my travel packets. Mr. Kratz is drinking AG1 as well.
Dude, the travel packets are a game changer. Just this weekend, we took it to Kansas City. You're in a hotel. They're not like all of it. Like, yes, you can find the juice places, but it's nothing like what's in these packs. Mm-hmm. For me, like just the energy that I have, and I just feel more alert because I don't drink energy drinks.
Yep.
And it's great. It is awesome. Obviously at home it's awesome, but the travel packs are the real G.
Listen, I know I'm 37. I know I look great, but I'm looking out. I'm checking the mail for my packets. I'm checking the mail for my packets, Kratzy.
This is what happens. You recommend to a family or friend. So we got you then, okay? So you replace your multivitamin just with AG1. You don't need, to fill up your shelf. Just it's one packet, or obviously you have the tub and one scoop, which includes prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes for gut support. And yes, you can recommend it to friends, formulated based on the latest science and maintains high quality standards if you're of age. It's kind of one size fits all, which is great. So it's a foundational nutritional supplement that supports your body's universal needs like gut optimization, stress management, and immune support. Since 2010, AG1 has led the future of foundational nutrition, continuously refining their formula to create a smarter, better way to elevate your baseline health. And if there's one product we would recommend to elevate your health, it is AG1. So we're excited to welcome them as a new partner to the FT fam. So if you want to take ownership of your health, it starts with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/foul, F-O-U-L. That's drinkag1.com/foul. Go check it out. On that front, next up, we got some people that need to work on their recovery a little bit. We hate doing this seg, but we got to do it. Injuries suck. Remember last week we had some San Francisco Giants on the show. We had Austin Slater and Mike Yastrzemski, and we were like, guys, be careful. Well, Slater was hurt, right?
Just like Lil Kane says, it's a jungle out there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a jungle for the Giants.
Yeah, and this one hurts, Cam. So Jung-Hoo Lee was one of their big offseason signings. He brings something different to the table for them. The contact, he looked like he was more than handling things in the outfields when he was playing in Korea or in indoor controlled environment. You go to San Francisco where the ball can fly all over the place. He was handling it, right? He crashes into the wall, ends up needing labrum surgery. His season is over, and this really sucks for San Francisco.
It does, man, because this is one of those guys who, in my eyes, he was every bit as advertised. He was giving the Giants exactly what they thought they were going to get, which is rare. You know, a lot of guys come over here and they struggle and they try to have a tough time catching on, but his ability to play defense, his ability to understand who he was as a hitter, making contact, that's a tough loss for the Giants. They continue to take it on the chin. I mean, it's going to be an uphill battle for those guys, but, you know, I've been through that surgery, labrum surgery. He'll be fine. I think he's having it at a time of the season where he'll be more than ready when you talk about next year rolling around. But this is a huge loss. He was a guy that they were looking for a while, kind of that, you know, table setter, that catalyst, and I think he was only going to get better with big league experience. So that's a tough loss for the Giants.
Yeah, you never want to build your team around one guy because injuries can happen like this. But Cam knows as well as anybody, when you get a guy that can run it down in a huge outfield, that balls are getting knocked down. Like a lot of balls that are smashed, and the outfield's smaller, but a lot of balls that are smashed hang up for a while. It's like playing at the K. It's like playing in Kansas City. The ball just is in the air a long time. And when you have a dude who is the grandson of the wind or son of the wind, whatever the nickname is, his dad's nickname was son of the wind and he's grandson of the wind. Like, it is going to be a difference maker. They have other guys. They have guys that can roam it out there. You just don't have someone that can roam it like he did. And to miss that, they built this team around their defense. They still have Platinum at third. They were hoping this was going to be gold in center. You just got to keep going.
I want to elaborate on Crassie's point. He makes a great point because what people don't know, and I spent 4 years in the NL West, teams go out and they sign center fielders in that division because of ballparks like San Francisco, because of ballparks like Colorado. People don't understand, it seems like a hitter-friendly park, but you have to have a guy that can go track the ball. Petco as well. They brought the fences in, but there's a such thing as Crassie's speaking of. It's called the marine layer. Come 8 o'clock, you get a lot of balls that are hit, that are crushed, and you need a guy that they hang up just long enough that he can go run those balls down, and he helps those pitchers out, get those extra outs. And you see a lot of guys signed to the NL West because that's not the greatest hitter division if you really know it as a baseball player. A lot of pitchers go to the NL West to resurrect their career. So to have a guy like that go down who can cover all of that ground in those division stadiums, it's a bigger loss than what they realize.
So two things. One, some people might look at Jung-Hoo Lee's hitting line and be like, meh, okay, let's give him a sec. He was just getting going in the bigs, right? He was at 262, 310 on base. He wasn't slugging, 331 slug. But that's not what he's going to be known for anyway. He might not hit more than 10, 12 homers, as a career high in the bigs. He was
Especially
still close to league average, right?
He was brought over to save runs and score runs. That's his job.
I do have an answer, okay? So I can't leave this out from the weekend because there was a 2-game stretch where their center fielder happened to string together a casual 11 RBIs, which is a good month. Luis Matos just got called back up, obviously, to fill the void here. I mean, he's 10 for 30 so far this season with 2 homers, 17 RBIs. I've watched most of his at-bats since he's come back. He looks really good. He's always up with dudes on so far. I mean, obviously it's early, okay? But he really helped them take down the Rockies this weekend, coming through every time he was up. He was spitting at pitches that he was chasing at last time around, right? Because he made his debut last year, put together 228 at-bats. So I believe that's past rookie status, right? He's not a rookie anymore. He's not a prospect. But I've been following him for a while. He's 21 years old. He's 21. And it was him and Luciano that you were talking about for the last few years. Now we get to see what those two look like and if it's time for them.
And defensively, You talk about his offense. I've been watching him defensively because I wanted to see how was he going to, take over that role. Defensively, brother, they haven't missed a beat. So I see what you're saying. I understand where you're going with that, Bronny. Defensively as well, we've seen some web jams, but he can cover some ground.
Agreed. That's the thing. That's depth. Sometimes you lose a guy like that for the season and the replacement is not even close. The upside of their replacement, he's a different player, but the upside is just as high.
That's how the good teams, and I'm not saying that the Giants are in this like stratosphere of good teams, but when you elevate your first team, your second team, which, okay, we don't get Jung Hoo Lee, now all of a sudden Luis Matos has to learn. He's got to learn in the big leagues, and there's an ability to call guys up like that. Yes, he had an incredible stretch. What did you say? It was 11 RBI?
Saturday alone, he had a 5 RBI.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, that's a play. Listen, that's a player of the month type of month. If you know Kratzy.
For a weekend. He did it in a weekend.
He did it in a weekend, exactly. So
he might win player of the week. I mean, that was just in the 2 games. I didn't catch as much of the Sunday game. I was watching other games, but just in the 2 games alone, I know he had 11 RBIs.
He has 17 and 30 at bats.
That's great.
Like 17.
So like you said, the upside there is he can. Again, I've seen a lot of center fielders. It's hard. Again, we don't say, hey, is he as good? I think he is an above average center fielder, and I think we can sit here and say right now at 21 years old, I think he is definitely a better offensive, product than Lee. That's just my opinion. I think he gives you more offensively.
He's definitely got more thump. I mean, there's no doubt about that. He's already got 2 home runs. I mean,
and the Rockies came in, as much as we hate on the Rockies because they're hateable.
Yeah,
they came in hot, and he single-handedly sent the Rockies like 7-game win streak down.
Yep,
with that 5 RBI game,
and they made the Rockies look like they were pitching in Colorado. They were putting up runs all week in San Francisco. So good bounce back for them.
Yeah, exactly. Kratzy, talked about not being in the stratosphere. Well, we got to give them a little bit of credit. They are in a stratosphere of development because one thing that they do, and I feel like for me personally, year after year, you look at the roster and it's, but they always come out and they compete. So they do a great job of development and I think drafting guys that when their time is called and they do need to step up and be ready, they do a good job of getting the most out of guys. They do.
Who?
The Giants, especially when you look at the division they're in.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Giants. I was about to be like, you talking about the Rockies?
Hell no.
Not a game. Not a game.
Not a game. Not at home in Colorado. We talking about the Rockies. I feel bad for Buddy Black. I don't know what's going on out there. What is he supposed to do out there? I'm just wondering. What is Buddy Black supposed to do?
Lay low, man. He's just laying low. Like, don't bring up Buddy Black's name, man. Ain't nobody talking about Buddy Black. It's fine. He's doing what he's doing. Everybody there is just doing what they're doing. Like
they hit a little heater. They hit a little short heater. You're right.
Yeah, just enough to be like, ooh, the Rockies, they don't have the worst record, but
exactly.
They could have the worst record.
They're close. They're bottom of the barrel.
I call that the wine trip. When older coaches they just stay coaching, and you're like, I really see you here every day. Like, what are you here for? The wine. Like the game's over, and man, I'll never see you on the computers. I'm not saying the coaches in Colorado are doing that. I'll never see you like handing out printouts or giving any kind of good information. But man, do I see you with a glass of wine after every game, every road trip, on the plane, just on a wine tour, like it's Napa. Like, man, this is a big leagues. This is a career. Like, don't just be stealing time.
Oh, thanks.
The one other team I think about, because we probably won't have time to get into what they did, and all they did was just destroy the White Sox this weekend. But the Yankees, right? Dominguez is on his way back. He's rehabbing, and he might then get optioned. I mean, he's young, and he came up late last year. But if the Yankees lose an outfielder at some point, or a DH, whatever, right? Someone gets hurt. That's what I'm talking about. You don't skip a beat. Dominguez comes up, and if he looks like he did for the whatever that was, a week or two last year, you're like, oh, damn. That's what I think with Matos, where I'm like, all right, this dude that's replacing him is not someone that's, struggling or low upside or fit in a spot that he shouldn't be in. This is someone who deserves to be here and get a shot. Is it maybe a little early? Was he crushing it in the minors? Not yet, but he's been asked to step up now. He's had big league time. He figured out what they were doing against him, and it might change again, but he struggled for his 200 plus at bats, and now he looks different.
Hey, Kratzy, have you seen him in person by any chance, Dominguez?
Who's that? Dominguez? One time walking across, not next to him.
Right. Well, I do want to say, certain people are different, and our game is hard, but there's something about guys, and Kratzy will understand what I'm saying, right? And a lot of us can put a good poker face on. We got some poker players here, but deep down inside, that heart rate is that heart rate is racing, right? That heartbeat is fast. I had a chance to be around Jason Dominguez last year, and one thing as I sat and I watched and I observed, I finally went up to him and I asked him, like, are you, like, you're not nervous? Ice water in the kid's veins. Like, watching him take BP, watching him go to the plate. Like, I remember trying to put on that I'm good type of, show to act, that persona. But deep down inside, I was nervous. This kid literally has just the calmest pulse, ice water in his veins. So like Scott said, when he's ready, it won't be one of those things like, young guy, does he have to play every day? I think Dominguez is actually a type of guy, a type of talent where you could almost put him on the bench and give some guys some days off come, mid to late July, late June, June, August. And he's the type of guy that wouldn't miss a beat. He's not that type of young player that has to get 400 at-bats to produce. And that's an attribute when you talk about the depth of the Yankees.
Mm-hmm. That's all happens because you got Soto. You went and got Verdugo. Yes. You went and got Trent Grisham. Like, you're elevating your team because you already have depth. And then you push it a little bit farther when you have really, really quality depth.
Yeah, and Jason's got 2 S's in his name, which I recommend for anyone out there if you want a little extra. You got confidence. Yeah.
Jason.
Yeah, Jason.
Jason.
Yeah. All right, let's get to In the Weeds. Mets fans are depressed from the Edwin Diaz struggles. This team needs to win at the margins to stay competitive this year because they're not that team where it's a dude goes down and you've got something else. They're not there yet. They're kind of reloading on the fly. So they're not great. It's not a great team. And when your all-world closer is struggling, it really hurts. But he feels it more than anyone else. So let's hear from Edwin Diaz.
Stood at his locker, spoke to the media, answered every single question. But then when we were done with the post-game scrum, Diaz sat down at his locker and all the emotion just came out. He put his head in his hands and he started crying. Francisco Lindor had to come over, console him. Sean Reed Foley was one of the other few players in the clubhouse at the time, and he came over and got close to Diaz, sat down next to him face to face, just trying to give him some support and reinforce that they still have his back. And I think from a media perspective, from a fan's perspective, things like that are really good to see as a reminder that these guys are human, that this matters to these guys.
Yeah, that's Steve Gelb's Mets sideline reporter giving us inside access on what's going on with Sugar. What's going on?
It's getting hit.
Yeah. Is he using his slider too much?
No.
Talk to me, Kratzy.
He's missing spots.
I don't want to pick apart his pitch calling or pitch usage because when you're elite, like he's elite, it's like picking apart well, Josh Hader's throwing too many sliders.
I do think that sometimes. I thought that in the beginning of the year.
Okay. You can pick that apart. You can pick that apart anytime somebody gets hit. You can pick it apart when some dude's dominating. Like, why on earth would you throw him a fastball when he wasn't throwing the slider? Well, it went right by him, so it was a good pitch. I'm not going to pick apart his pitch usage. To me, it's more about how his pitches are finishing. And it would be more of a pitcher's discussion about it. But when your legs are not quite under you, and this is completely just judging him, your stuff isn't going to quite finish at the end of it. Your fastball isn't going to have that pow at the end. Your slider's not going to have that little bite. So is it in the same location as it was before? Maybe. Is it in the same velocity, it might be close. But when it's not finishing, when it's not that last 2 feet of finish, guys are going to start having swings on it. Guys are going to start having swings like Josh Bell is a really good hitter. He's a good hitter. He should not take elite prime Edwin Diaz out to center field in the 9th inning. That's not what Edwin Diaz does. Let's happen. And I think balls, the location of the pitches are good because they're down in the zone, but it's not that finish. It's not that bite on that slider. Maybe he's throwing it too much. Absolutely. But I'm not going to debate that because there's a lot that goes into that. And it just seems like it's not quite there.
Well, you know what? I always value your opinion when we talk about pitchers. And now I'm going to go, I know you hit as well, but now I'm going to go to a hitter's standpoint as I watch, Sugar and I watch him compete. I do agree with you, Kratzy, to an extent. I don't necessarily think it's the pitch calling, but I do think it's the pitch execution. But what I do see is, to agree with Scott, it seems like, being in the box against, Sugar, I wish he could face himself. We get scouting reports. We know guys are struggling with their off speed. We know guys, hey, he's been a little erratic around the zone. So, hey, against a guy like him, we're going to shrink the zone. If we see anything, if we can pick up spin at all, which is tough to do against a Sugar. I faced him before. When it's good, it's tight, everything looks like a heater. But if you can see something out of the zone, out of the hand, like Kratzy's saying, non-competitive pitches, I think that's where it's, he's getting in trouble. Not getting ahead, not attacking. Sometimes these guys are so nasty that they think they need to be nasty from pitch one instead of going right at guys, attacking guys. The guys that gave me the most trouble were guys that I felt like were coming right at me, and I was 0-1, 0-2, then they could do whatever they wanted to. And Sugar has a type of stuff when he is aggressive with that heater. He has movement on it, late movement. Get ahead and then get nasty. I think he's throwing too many off-speed pitches without the command that he's used to having with it, and I think that's where he's getting in trouble. So I agree with Scott. I think he needs to have an outing where he goes, if I get beat, I'm going to get beat being aggressive early in the zone and get beat attacking. It's kind of like the Alex Manoah thing. I think his problem was trying to be too fine, trying to be too cute. When he attacks, it allows your other pitches to play up, to be better. So I think that's what we're seeing. That's my opinion. It could be something different, but as a hitter, I think he needs to be more on attack.
Yeah, numbers-wise, the splits are pretty similar to his 2022 campaign, on the four-seamer and the slider. The velo, is not what it was a couple of years ago, or not yet, whatever. That matters, though, maybe even more so for the slider. I mean, the heater's still at 97. It was 99. The slider average velo right now is at 89. It was at 91 2 years ago. And it's the movement, obviously. But it just looks like it's more hittable.
He's coming off an injury. You look at Acuna, you look at some guys who came off lower leg extremity injuries. You've heard them say, it took me 2 years before I was back.
Yep.
So because we see him now, and the stuff is still there, it's down, and we see the stuff still similar, we go, what's wrong with him? Well, I'm with Kratzy, too. A part of it, too, is his legs all the way up under him. Because what you don't get is you don't get a guy with that type of stuff who doesn't use his lower half. So if his lower half isn't where he wants it to be, it could be throwing him his in-syncness off, and it could be keeping him from getting to that rhythm and synced up like he wants to be.
I'm delving into the numbers while you talk, Cam, but I like the word in-syncness. I'm not sure if that was one of the people that was in sync, like in-syncness.
Yeah,
I don't know if that was one of the characters.
Webster Dictionary picked it up once they became big 25 years ago. Yeah,
but there's definitely we live in a analytical environment now, and I took the 2 minutes that you were talking to just look up what his spin is, what his induced vertical break is, what his spin efficiency is, and it's not quite where it was. His velocity 2 miles an hour down, that's easy cherry picking. He's going to get that back. He topped out in 21 and 22, he topped out at 102. He's topped out at 99.7, so it's close, but his average is about 2 miles an hour down. But to me, when a guy doesn't have the exact same stuff you almost have to like reset your sights. Where does it have to be so that I can get this guy starting to swing? And it'll be interesting to watch. And I love the fact that Carlos Mendoza said, their manager said, we're gonna stick with him, but it might be in a little softer spots. And maybe those softer spots, he'll sit there and he'll go, whoa, like when I go upstairs, I need to go a ball higher than I used to go because I'm not getting that life. And to me, I think that's the stuff that you just got to work through. And that's where analytics helps a ton.
There you go.
That's a great point for guys watching. I just want, I know a lot of people are watching the show. For pitchers watching, I have a lot of young pitchers. That is a great point. And that just might be day-to-day, Kratzy. Like you're saying, you might not have that stuff that you had the outing before. So like you said, I've got to start this slider a little bit more middle out instead of out. I got to start this at the 6 ball or the 5 ball. But I love that point. Having the understanding that you're never going to feel the same, and you have to be able and willing to make those adjustments. I love that.
Hey, let's get to our next guest. Ready to go right now on FT. It's Jo Adell, Angels outfielder, joining us right now. Joe, do you have us? What's up, man?
Scott, Erik, Cam, what's going on, guys? I'm good.
Hey.
How are you?
Good to see you.
Look at that beard.
Oh, it's strong.
Hey, listen, I was going to say, you got to have a beard.
The last time, we were teammates, by the way. For people who don't know, me and Erik were teammates. And the last time you saw me, I don't think it was this thick.
It wasn't that. I mean, you had it in there. You had a lot of potential, but all Joe was doing was he was turning the speaker up loud that he wasn't able to get through customs from Mexico to Japan, and he was hitting balls off the back of the Tokyo Dome. People were like, man, we didn't even know to protect the back of the Tokyo Dome. Joe was just whacking balls off the lights in the back of the Tokyo Dome.
They ain't back there.
Talking to Jo Adell, whacking balls off the back of the Tokyo Dome. Let me give you my first Jo Adell experience, and he won't even know this. 2017, I get traded to the Angels, and as a player, you always think if somebody wants you, you're going to be there for a little bit longer than, you're going to be there for a long time, you hope. So I remember 2017 comes around. The Angels draft this kid, Jo Adell, and I this is no joke. I remember watching, and this is how competitive my mind works. And I remember going, holy shit, I need to get stronger. Mind you, I'm a grown man. I've got almost 10 years in the big leagues. I'm going, they just drafted this kid. I'm like, I'm 6'4", he's 6'4", he's younger, he's faster, he's stronger. Hey, I don't know how much time I got left in this thing, Kratzy. If this is what they look like, you know what, man? I'm gonna try to get them. I started trying to hit for power more than next year, Joe. I appreciate it. I'm gonna give Jo Adell some credit. You helped me stay around about 2-3 more years longer because I said I gotta hit more homers. I gotta do more because if this is what they look like out of high school, I'm in trouble, my brother. So I'm excited for your success, man. I'm happy to see you, it clicking for you, and continue to do it, brother. It's fun to watch.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's been really cool having this staff around and just really focusing on my grind and my work and not worrying about the result, just focusing on my craft and what I'm trying to do day to day. And, I've had some success so far, so I'm really happy about that.
That is such a boring stock answer, especially since you're at Bo's little hit academy that he's deked you into going to on your off day, man. You don't know Bo nothing. Don't be going. Take your off day.
You know what? Hey, I absolutely loved it. I really, truly did. I mean, I've had my own foundation now for 6 years, and going in and seeing these kids and just the work ethic and devotion that they have to the game and their education. I actually showed up today, and it was the awards ceremony for them. And the amount of valedictorians, it was just crazy. So these are student athletes, and it was pretty cool. So I enjoyed it.
That's awesome. That's awesome when a dude like you gives back an up-and-coming star. But you weren't always an up-and-coming star. Stuff didn't go well for you. Talk about, because we've been talking about this so much, because we like talking about prospects. We like talking about, he's going to do good. He's not doing good. What's the transition? Talk about AAA compared to the big leagues. And I'm going to leave it at that. I have comments about it, but talk about AAA compared to the big leagues and what that has meant for your career development and growth as a player.
No, absolutely. I'll never discredit, any professional level at any point in time. But it's definitely different. AAA, you're seeing, obviously, you're going to see some guys that are in the rotation. Absolutely. On the hitting side, you're going to be facing guys that, can get you out. Anybody can get you out. AAA, AA, the big leagues, it's professional baseball. But there's definitely a big curve when it gets to the big leagues, especially when you're facing these frontline starters. When you're facing the Zach Wheelers, you're facing Seth Lugo, you're facing guys that, if you're not on your game mentally with an approach to go and a plan to attack, it's going to be difficult. And so I think for me, the biggest difference between my failures in the past, which baseball is a kind of a failure sport, it's going to happen. And my success and my ability to walk and have better at bats now is with that plan, the plan of attack, and knowing that with some of these guys, I'm not going to be able to hit every pitch they throw, and understanding that there's going to be times where I'm going to have to take a walk or be more selective. It's not like it used to be, right? Like, I remember in the past, I would go up and it could be 3 or 4 balls on the outside part of the plate and I could still hit it out. Those days are over. Those pitches now are sweepers. And if you're going to swing at pitches like that, it's going to be a long day. So I think for me, part of the maturation process was honing in that plan. And we've talked about that. I've been on that for a couple of years now, focusing on that as part of my game, is how am I going to get pitches closer to me that I can handle. So that's going to be the challenge. And I've done a good job to this point.
Joe, I want to follow up about your approach, because one thing you've done, man, and I'm so uh, proud to see you do, and I know it's not difficult, is you cut your strikeouts nearly in half, right? And you talk about an approach, and I want to know if it's okay, if you're okay with sharing it. What has been that approach, or what has been that mindset? Is it, be more aggressive but also selective, or did you take a deeper dive in understanding where you do damage? Is it looking for the ball middle end, up, outer half? My guy, I was a guy that, people told me to look up and out over the plate, and in my career, I was like a 180 hitter. Well, later I realized getting the ball close to me, I was a 333 career hitter. But and Kratz knows you have hitting coaches preaching the same thing. Where has your approach changed that has really helped elevate your game, and I think you're going to continue to see it elevate?
Absolutely, Cam. I think the biggest thing was I've always been a pretty good opposite field hitter. I've always been able to hit the ball to right center with power. That's kind of been a strength of mine. But the issue that I ran into, especially when I got to the big leagues right away, my sights were too far out over. And so when I started looking too far out over on the plate, I was susceptible to cutters away and sliders away. And that's where most of my swing and miss came from, was pitches that were just too far outside. And when I went back and kind of looked at the numbers, I was like, wow, even those pitches that are a ball or two out, I'm not handling them as well as the pitch that's maybe a ball or two inside. And so going back and being able to see what you actually hit well versus what you think you do, it kind of helps you change your thought process at the plate. And for me, that was the big deal, was getting my sights back closer to me, understanding that the pitchers that I'm facing know that there's some chase away, and moving the ball closer to me where I can handle it is really going to be the key. And I think it's like you said, it's going to that next level, and for me, I have to stay the course with that approach.
Who got that approach for you? Is this a just you thing? Like, you know what? I should do this, or is there kind of an architect behind it?
Well, I think every once in a while as a player, you got to do a little homework on yourself. I think we've done a really great job this year. Johnny Washington, Tim Laker, coming together and figuring out what I do well. And when you talked about the strikeout rate, Erik, it's down now, and it's primarily due to the fact that, it's like I said, I'm aware of what I hit. And when we went back and looked at some of the heat maps and some of the zones, and we had to go look at some of my swing and miss and really look at it and look at pitches that I'm chasing that I think I can hit. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm not hitting this pitch well. I'm swinging and missing on sliders that are here. What can I do? And then that's that whole process of changing your sights. And we talk about that a lot in the cage. Because at the end of the day, you're going to swing how you swing. I think we all know that at some point in time. It's not about your setup. It's not about, what you do. It's about what you're looking at some point. And when I got to hone in on that, good things have happened. My at-bats have been better. I've been able to get on base, and that's ultimately what I'm trying to do. But I would say more of a collective job on deep diving and looking into what exactly I'm swinging at, where I'm looking, and where I can do a better job.
I love that answer. I want to ask you about leadership, and I want to ask you about yourself and the confidence that I see you playing with. You just seem to have this freedom right now. I watch you play. The deep breaths are coming out a lot easier. You just seem loose and relaxed. Is there any type of correlation with Wash giving you confidence or allowing you to go out and make mistakes and understanding that, hey, brother, you're not going anywhere. You're going to be here from here on out. You're going to learn at this level, and I trust you to figure it out. Has that helped you kind of continue to make that jump? Or has it just been, just been a part of the maturation process?
No, Cam, it's been huge. One thing Wash says when he talks to us, and even when the games don't go well, we lose games or games get away from us, is the only thing we can control is our work. And that's kind of been preached since spring training. We want to focus on what we do day in, day out, our routine, and taking care of the small things. And obviously now for me, being able to go out and play every day, there's a level of confidence that brings as well. But with the focus being around our work and how we're preparing for the game, the game's going to happen. It's going to be what it is. We're going to face tough pitchers. We're going to have days where maybe our bullpen is where we want it to be, or maybe one of our pitchers, one of our starters, the game gets away, whatever it might be. But we're going to focus on our work. Staff that we brought in has been about the work. Bo Porter included, EY, the entire staff has been solely about focus on your crafts and your work, and the results will show up. And for me right now, I'm reaping the benefits of that. But obviously, having consistent playing time and being in there every day is a huge part of my success to this point.
Joe, when they came out with the new uniforms, did you think you got an invisible cloak from Nike or something when you were on the bases for a little bit there? You were running like crazy. What was going on with that?
Yeah. It's I've had a lot more attempts this year. I think the thing is I'm still working on what I'm looking at when I'm taking these bases. I have a couple of stolen bases now that have been where I've jumped a pitcher before he's actually thrown the ball. I'm working on that. That's something. My steal attempts being this high. This is the highest they've ever been. I think we went from being more of a base to base kind of station to station offense to definitely pushing the issue now. So it's taking some getting used to, but it definitely feels good to turn on the burners and get it going for sure.
Hey, Joe, I need 30 from you from here on out every year. You got it. You special. But go ahead and talk about how good Erik Young Sr. is and how he's helped you in that aspect. Let's give him his flowers, right?
Oof. Man, I remember the first day we talked about base running in camp. EY is so special with the way he's able to deliver the confidence of really just instill the confidence in players. I think more than just me. He makes you feel like you can fly. And for me, he's looking at my numbers. He's like, you know what? You can really run. And the fact that your steal attempts have been this low over the past 3 years in the big leagues is just not acceptable. And we need you to run. Especially now, we have a couple of our heavy hitters are out. We're going to need to push the issue on the bases. And just the way that he's gotten with me and allowed me to feel free running and making me feel like, hey, it's okay if you get thrown out, because I've been thrown out a good bit this year. It's not like I am, 100% on stolen bases. I've been thrown out, but I've also gotten my bags, and just allowing me to have that as a part of my game and bringing that back into the picture has been great for me. And I'm thankful for all of these guys, and especially him freeing that up for me and allowing me to be that type of athlete.
Hey, Joe, I got a question about your teammate, the legend, the GOAT, Mike Trout. He's been incredible to our game for a long time, and I think there's some national media members that have been piling on, being like, oh, baseball injuries are soft. What's your response to that?
I'm sorry. Oh, baseball injuries, you said?
Yeah, like Stephen A is going on ESPN being like, oh, baseball players, they get hurt, they can't handle anything. And he used Trout as the example, which obviously pissed off some guys on our show and others elsewhere. And you get to play with him, and Trout's a freaking house, and he can easily dominate in the NFL if he wanted to, too.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought that was a little bit uneducated. Just at the fact that if you really look at what happened with Mike in particular, I won't talk about injuries in general, but we talk about Mike in particular. This injury happened at the beginning of the game that he finished playing. So people don't even understand that this guy something was off when the game started. And he proceeded to go out and help the team win that night. And he woke up in the morning and he couldn't move. And it's just, I hate to see it. It hurt me. I remember I was in the clubhouse. I actually had no idea. I was walking back from the training room and I saw the press conference on TV. And I was like, man, I just, because that level of greatness and how bad he wants to be out here and how much he's worked in the off season to get his body ready. He's come back this year actually looking leaner and more fit than he's ever been, which is even crazy. Starting off with 10 pumps. You just hate to see it. And, I took a knee by his locker, man, and just, put my head down and said, we're going to hold it down until you get back. But this isn't soft. This isn't a soft guy. This is a guy that unfortunately just got dealt a bad hand with this one. And he's going to be back and he's going to be good. And he's working his butt off right now to get back and get right with us. So no more comment towards the Stephen A spiel, but just to let you know, this guy finished a game with something that, most people wouldn't have. So
well stated. That's the insight we need. Appreciate that. Also, he was off to a blazing start. He was about to steal 50 freaking bags himself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That ball he hit Miami.
Oh, yeah, crazy.
Whoa.
Crunch.
He's still Trout. Just for everyone to know. He's still Trout.
That was a reminder in case you forgot.
Exactly. Well, Joe, this was awesome, man. Keep doing your thing. Love having you on. Great to talk to you. Hopefully we'll do it again soon. All right. Good to see you.
Good to see you all. I appreciate it. And take care. Go Halos.
Thanks. Yes. Hell yeah. Good to see you, man. Jo Adell from the Angels.
Right.
Off to a freaking hot start, crushing it right now with the Halos. Pay attention to the numbers. Go watch a game, too. Watch a late night Angels game right now and look at who's doing well. Joe's on the list, crushing it. All right. Let's keep moving on, FT, because we're about 10 minutes away from Dodgers territory. And Steven Nelson's going to join Alana Rizzo and Clint Pasillas as they keep the super streaky
Esteban
guests eliteness going.
Oh, they're not. Yeah,
they're on an absolute heater. Right
I gotta find out who their guest
booker.
Their guest booker is, because I mean every week it's like Will Smith. I'm like, can I get a Will Smith from Foul Territory one time?
Mark Pryor, Miguel Rojas, etc.
Glasnow is on there. We get Glasnow first though, so
just it's competitive.
Yeah,
it's competitive though. All right, let's hit our locks for the day, shall we? Your BetMGM locks. Looking back at Friday. Oh, hey. We swept.
The cooler hit. The cooler
hit because he's tailing.
Love that. AJ's been on the struggle bus a little bit, Cam, but he's back now. He has washed out. He had a tough April, but he has washed it out with a great end to the week. I think it's my fault. I left and AJ got hot.
He did get hot. He's up 143. We're all up right now. Well, Cam, you don't count because you only did one. So
I don't count, yeah.
I mean, you're small sample size to the highest degree, okay? But yeah, I picked up an easy dub with the Yanks. Kratz was away. Todd Father got his Astros money line to keep running that. And we got to get to Mr. Papelbon, who's up nearly $1,000 this year. Pap's pick today is...
What's up, my people of FT Nation? It's your boy Pap, the Papnosticator, coming in. It's Halkamania Day. Tanner Houck pitching. Of course, I can't bet on the Red Sox, but if I could bet on the Red Sox, I would take them in the money line tonight, if you know what I mean. But I can't bet on them. So my 2-game parlay tonight is going to be the Toronto Blue Jays playing the White Sox. It's always a good bet to bet against the White Sox. And I'm taking the Guardians. New York Mets coming in from Miami last night. They're probably out late in Miami, doing the Miami thing. So I'm taking the Guardians. 2-game parlay, and I'm putting 200 on it. Let's get that cheese.
Let's go. Mets having a night in Miami after a dub.
Because I won't even get into it.
We used to call that the South Beach flu, Scott. Is teams come here from Miami? I'm like, oh yeah, South Beach flu got them again.
Yep. Hey, it's a good way to look at your picks. Just saying.
Gotta get some AG1 to recover.
That's right.
Them boys got that flu.
All right, what do you got?
All right, I set it into Claude, and I was like, I heard some rumblings that Sale's not going, so I had to just double check that Sale is going in the second game. Okay. So my pick is still Atlanta. I'm taking the run line in the game. I feel like they're going to get it right. They're getting it right in the first game, and they're going to continue that in the second game with Sale. If there's ever like a let up in the second game of a doubleheader, not when Sale's on the mound. Mm-hmm. So he's going to come after it, and I got Houston money line. Got it at plus 175. I'm putting down a hunch.
Nice. And they got their asses beat on Sunday Night Baseball too, right?
It's not a good thing to do against the Braves.
No, they're gonna feel it potentially. Mm-hmm. I'll tell the Houston money line. I'm building a parlay tonight with the Astros to stay hot with Framber on the mound. I think we get good Framber tonight. And then the Dodgers, I was toying with just taking them on a run line, but I'm worried that it could be close with the D-backs, but I see a dub for Yamamoto. He's actually had some dominant wins lately, but I see a dub for the Dodgers. So I'm putting those two together at plus 116. Cam, what do you got?
You know what? I'm going to stay in Atlanta. The Pods trying to hold off the Braves in the first one right now. But like Kratzy said, I think if you need a guy on the mound right now, the Braves need something. They need something to turn, haven't been playing the best baseball. I love the energy. I love how locked in Chris Sale has been this season. Looks rejuvenated in Atlanta. Give me Atlanta with the 1.5, -1.5. And let me get Chris Sale leading the game, starting pitchers in Ks. He will have the most Ks. He will continue to dominate, and he will try his best to get the Braves back on track.
And game 2 is Sale versus Cease, right? Is that what it is? Or was Cease in 1?
Cease was in 1. It was Lopez. Ronaldo Lopez versus Cease in game 1.
Game 1. Okay.
It's Randy Vasquez.
Yeah. Oh, so he's got to outdo Vasquez on case?
Strikeout Vasquez.
I like your chances there.
I think it's a good play, Cam.
Good take.
Well done.
It's a good take. Well done. All right, so it's a big week for BetMGM. On Wheel of Fortune, they're giving away up to $10 million in bonuses all week long. You can take a spin on the big money wheel for daily prizes and a chance to win $10K. BetMGM Sportsbook account holders who play the Big Money Wheel will have the opportunity to win a reward when you spin the wheel. Reward types include parlay boost tokens, odd boost tokens, SGP boost tokens, bet insurance tokens, and bonus bets. Get after it. I know a lot of people love Wheel of Fortune, so have fun.
People love Vanna White.
They do. Legend. GOAT. Let's slap. Okay. Can I maybe mix in a quote or two that'll feel dated tomorrow? Mm-hmm. Give another shout out to Carlos Rodon. He's just absolutely dominating right now. And the quote, he said, "I sit down in the dugout now and I look around and I feel pretty comfortable sitting in this stadium. I thought about the first month here in April. I'm looking around and I'm like, this doesn't feel overwhelming anymore. This feels like home." What a turnaround. I'm going to keep pumping that because I watched the entire start actually from this past weekend against the White Sox. I get it. It's the White Sox. And we'll shout out Heel, who had 14 Ks and looks like a stud. And Garrett Cole, I know, is coaching him up real good. But Rodon's the story for me this year, Cameron. I mean, their starting rotation is holding up. It's more than holding up. They're getting length from their starters, and they're doing this all without Cole.
Yeah, it's amazing. Cole went down, and you needed Rodon to step up like the guy, like an ace. They didn't bring him in to be number 2. They brought him to be the 1A or 1B, per se. And it looks like he's finally got his nerves calmed down, and I'll continue to go back to the Juan Soto effect, the Trent Grisham effect, the Alex Verdugo effect, bringing in all these guys One thing I continue to say is there is no stat for character and chemistry. And right now, this team is hitting on all cylinders from those two aspects. And you love to see it. I love to see it from Rodon after last year, a little bit of a humbling experience. We know the Yankees fans are as hard as any fan base that there is. I think he needs that accountability right now. And we're seeing a guy who is on a mission to prove that he is the guy that we've seen him be before. And it is fun to watch this team go out and play a free brand of baseball.
Confidence in New York. Feeling comfortable there. That's a good thing.
Funny how when you're doing well, the confidence is up in New York, though, right, Kratzy?
Feeling more comfortable. Just saying. Just saying.
Exactly.
Also, one more quick one. Vinny Pasquantino was told that the 2 buttons off the top wasn't a good look. Matt Quachar's like a pretty by the book dude as his skipper for the Royals that are 10 games above the 500 mark for the first time since 2015. And Vinny's like, all right, I'll do it because I'm in an 0 for 14 slump and it worked. Will he stay like that? He did not make any promises. We got to get Vinny
put a bow tie on. I might put a bow tie on all the way to the top.
That's Ken Rosenthal's thing.
Vinny P loves the show. Talk to him a little bit this weekend. He loves it.
We got to get him back. I owe him a text.
The Pasquatch.
The Pasquatch is my favorite, gimmick or whatever you want to call it. In the game. He ripped a triple.
I'm hoping he hits a homer so I can see that is the best in the game, bro.
He struts. He's got the new best strut in baseball. Dodgers territory, Alana, Clint, and Steven Nelson joining us. Big weekend for Shohei Ohtani. We didn't get to it. They will. We'll see you Tuesday.